It all begins in a war-torn field, shrouded in a dense haze of gunpowder. Explosions still echo in the distance as exhausted soldiers walk among the trenches. Amid the chaos, a faint sound emerges, a weak whimper coming from a partially destroyed building. American soldier Lee Duncan, his heart racing, runs toward the sound. There, among the rubble, he finds a thin German shepherd and her newborn puppies. The eyes of the tiny Rin Tin Tin, shining despite the dirt and fear, lock onto Lee's. Lee slowly extends his hand as the puppy struggles to stand. In that moment, beneath the gray clouds of war, a bond is formed that would change not only their lives but also the world. Lee Duncan grew up in poverty and always felt a special connection to animals, especially dogs. During World War I, he served in France, surrounded by devastation and a lack of hope. One day, while exploring the ruins of a bombed-out village, Lee heard a faint whimper coming from a destroyed building. Investigating further, he found a thin, injured German shepherd protecting her puppies amidst the rubble. Among the little ones, one puppy caught his attention. He was smaller than the others but seemed to radiate a stubborn energy. When Lee extended his hand, the puppy approached and confidently licked it. That moment sealed their fates. Lee named him Rin Tin Tin, inspired by a good luck charm used by French soldiers, and vowed to protect him. With limited resources, Lee shared his rations with the puppies and improvised beds for them. Though other soldiers teased him, Rin Tin Tin quickly proved to be special. The puppy was incredibly intelligent and learned commands with ease, but what impressed Lee the most was his loyalty. During nighttime attacks, Rin Tin Tin stayed by his side as if he understood the danger around them. On one occasion, a nearby tent was hit by shrapnel during a bombing. Holding Rin Tin Tin in his arms, Lee used his own body to shield him. At that moment, Lee realized the small puppy wasn't just an animal. He was a symbol of hope amidst the chaos of war. When the war ended, many soldiers were forced to leave their dogs behind, but Lee couldn't bring himself to do the same. He faced immense challenges to bring Rin Tin Tin back to the United States, spending almost all his money to secure a spot for the puppy on the ship. Even so, their bond remained unshakable. Finally, upon arriving in California, Lee carried Rin Tin Tin in his arms as they disembarked. After surviving the war together, the two were ready to face a new challenge, rebuilding their lives in a world full of uncertainties. Back in California, life wasn't easy for Lee Duncan and Rin Tin Tin. The post-war economy was unstable, and Lee, with few qualifications outside his military experience, struggled to make ends meet. Rin Tin Tin, on the other hand, grew up healthy and impressed everyone who met him with his obedience and intelligence. He seemed to understand Lee's feelings and was always nearby during difficult times, serving as a silent source of strength. Everything changed during a walk in the park. Rin Tin Tin caught the attention of a local trainer, who suggested Lee enter the dog in skill competitions. Initially hesitant, Lee decided to give it a try, seeing an opportunity to improve their lives. At his first competition, Rin Tin Tin amazed everyone. He performed precise jumps, followed complex commands, and even seemed to interpret emotions while completing the challenges. Among the spectators at that competition was an independent film director looking for a talented dog for an action project. Enchanted by Rin Tin Tin's performance, he approached Lee with a proposal. He wanted Rin Tin Tin to star in a short film. With no other opportunities in sight, Lee accepted. But he constantly feared Rin Tin Tin would be treated as just another disposable tool, like so many animals in Hollywood. In the early days of filming, Rin Tin Tin proved he was more than just an ordinary dog. He had an innate ability to perform scenes, almost as if he understood what the camera expected from him. However, the pressure from the studios soon increased. Rin Tin Tin was asked to perform dangerous stunts, including risky jumps and running on unstable terrain. During one of these moments, while filming a chase scene, Rin Tin Tin slipped and injured his paw. Furious, Lee demanded better conditions for the dog. This episode marked a turning point in Lee's relationship with Hollywood producers. He was determined to protect Rin Tin Tin, even if it meant losing work opportunities. Lee realized that many saw Rin Tin Tin merely as a money-making machine, but to him, Rin Tin Tin was family. This protective attitude created friction but also highlighted Rin Tin Tin as a symbol of respect and love for animals in the industry. Despite the challenges, Rin Tin Tin continued to shine on screen, and his talent was undeniable. After the success of the first film, he was offered a starring role in a larger production. The story was an emotional tale of loyalty and courage, mirroring the journey of Lee and Rin Tin Tin. The film not only captivated audiences but also saved the studio from bankruptcy. Rin Tin Tin was not just a star, he had become a real-life hero to millions. The pinnacle of Rin Tin Tin's career came with an invitation Lee could never have imagined. His faithful companion would be the lead in a high-budget feature film, a project poised to be a landmark in cinema history. The production was about a heroic dog saving an entire village from catastrophe. For Lee, this was more than just a job. It was a chance for Rin Tin Tin to show the world the resilient spirit he had carried since the battlefields. Filming began in harsh conditions: steep mountains, constant snow, and scenes that required extreme physical effort. Rin Tin Tin, with his characteristic energy, was flawless, surpassing each challenge with precision that impressed the crew. However, the script demanded a final scene that made Lee hesitate. Rin Tin Tin was supposed to cross a fragile, burning bridge, jumping at the last moment to save a character. For Lee, the risk seemed too great, but the producers assured him that all safety measures had been taken. On the day of filming, the set was ready. The flames, though controlled, looked dangerously real, and the cracking sounds of the wooden bridge added to the tension. Lee watched anxiously from the sidelines, unable to contain his nerves. When Rin Tin Tin was called to the scene, he moved forward with determination, as he always did. But an unexpected gust of wind fanned the flames, which spread rapidly, threatening to collapse the bridge before the dog could cross. In a moment of pure desperation, Lee shouted Rin Tin Tin's name, but the dog didn't hesitate. With an impressive leap, he crossed the bridge at the exact moment it collapsed, landing safely on the other side. The entire crew held their breath, and the set fell silent. When Rin Tin Tin got up, unscathed, everyone erupted in applause and cheers. He hadn't just completed the scene, he had overcome one of the greatest challenges of his career. However, the scare left Lee deeply shaken. After filming, he ran to embrace Rin Tin Tin, who wagged his tail, oblivious to the tension around him. For Lee, that moment was a reminder of everything they had overcome together, from the trenches of war to the pressures of Hollywood. He swore then and there that he would never again put Rin Tin Tin in a situation that could endanger his safety. The film was released shortly after and became a massive success. Critics and audiences alike praised not only Rin Tin Tin's performance but also his courage and charisma. He was not just a movie star, he was a true hero to the public. But for Lee, what mattered most was that his companion was by his side, healthy and happy. This episode marked a turning point in the relationship between Lee and the film studios. He became even more protective of Rin Tin Tin, demanding better working conditions and ensuring the dog was treated with the respect he deserved. The world saw an icon on the screen, but Lee saw a loyal friend who had never abandoned him, even in the most difficult moments. Over the years, Rin Tin Tin continued to captivate millions of people on the silver screen. His films became synonymous with success, and he became a beloved figure for children and adults around the world. But while the public saw a four-legged hero, Lee saw something much deeper. His friend, the little puppy he had found amidst the horrors of war, who had grown to symbolize courage and hope. Time, however, is relentless, and Lee knew Rin Tin Tin was aging. Gradually, the vigorous jumps and boundless energy gave way to slower steps and quieter days. Realizing this, Lee made the decision to retire Rin Tin Tin from the screen. He wanted the dog to live out his final years in peace, far from cameras and spotlights, enjoying the care and comfort he so richly deserved. At his home in California, Lee created a tranquil environment for Rin Tin Tin, with large green fields to explore and a cozy space to rest. Every day, Lee spent hours by the dog's side, reminiscing about the adventures they had shared. Rin Tin Tin seemed to understand every word, gazing at Lee with the same trusting, loving eyes he had as a puppy. Then came the day Lee feared most. Rin Tin Tin, now very frail, lay at Lee's feet, just as he had done since the days of war. Lee gently stroked him, recalling the moment he found him among the rubble so many years ago. He whispered words of gratitude, telling the dog he had been more than a companion, he had been his salvation. When Rin Tin Tin closed his eyes for the last time, Lee felt an immense void, as though a part of him had gone with his friend. But at the same time, he knew that Rin Tin Tin's legacy would live on forever, not just in the films but in the hearts of everyone touched by his story. Rin Tin Tin was not just a Hollywood icon. He was a symbol of unconditional love, loyalty, and resilience. Shortly afterward, Lee began receiving letters from fans all over the world, sharing how Rin Tin Tin had inspired their lives. To many, he wasn't just a movie character but a hero who proved that even the toughest adversities could be overcome. These messages helped Lee cope with his loss, reinforcing the certainty that Rin Tin Tin would never be forgotten. Years later, Lee dedicated himself to preserving Rin Tin Tin's memory, creating a legacy that celebrated the connection between humans and animals. He rescued other dogs, drawing inspiration from the bond he had shared with Rin Tin Tin, and devoted his life to spreading the message that love and friendship can arise in the most unexpected moments. For Lee, Rin Tin Tin was not just a chapter in his life but the heart of his story. As he walked through the fields where Rin Tin Tin used to run, he felt his friend's presence, as if the dog's spirit remained there, watching over him as he always had. Rin Tin Tin was more than just a dog. He was a symbol of hope, resilience, and unconditional love. He proved that even in the darkest moments, kindness can emerge in unexpected ways. His journey, from a lost puppy in the war to a global icon, is a powerful reminder that our deepest connections can transcend any barrier. Sometimes, the greatest heroes come from the most unlikely places and change the world in ways no one could have predicted.